This is United Network News with Sunny Galt, Calen, Kimberly Gogan, and our field messengers from around the world. Here's today's real news. It's Monday, June 23rd, 2025, and here are today's stories. What really happens behind closed doors at the secretive Bilderberg meeting? Our field messenger Susan takes you inside this year's Hush Hush gathering in Sweden. What's behind the recent delays and communication blackouts at Newark Liberty International Airport? UNN field messenger Amy is on the ground with insight into what travelers aren't being told. In Kenya, a bold step forward. This May, lawmakers passed the landmark Persons with Disabilities Act 2025. Find out how it's changing lives and turning promises into progress. A potato shortage is rocking the Canary Islands after a rough harvest season and stalled UK imports. UNN field messenger Emma breaks down what it means for locals and tourists alike. Pride Month is here, but this year's celebrations come with new challenges. We look at how shifting support and shrinking budgets are forcing organizers to rethink everything. From serene beaches to towering peaks, one of Japan's natural gems is calling. UNN field messenger Kazuaki takes us on a journey through breathtaking beauty and cultural wonder. And finally, abandoned homes across the globe are being transformed into dream escapes and smart investments. Discover how old villages are getting new life and why buyers are rushing in.
The Bilderberg meeting, established in 1954, is an exclusive annual gathering of top leaders and experts from politics, business, academia, media, and finance across Europe and North America. UNN field messenger Susan reports from this year's meeting in Sweden, highlighting the secrecy surrounding the event.
UNN field messenger Susan from Stockholm here. Recently I biked past Stockholm's Grand Hotel and noticed the whole area was sealed off. Rumor had it that the whole hotel was booked for 5 days and hence closed for the public. Turns out it was for the 71st Bilderberg meeting. Behind closed doors, 121 hand-picked participants, including heads of several Nordic countries and the CEO of Spotify, gathered to discuss global affairs far from public scrutiny. The topics this year are weighty: Ukraine, the US economy and AI, alongside discussions on depopulation, migration and authoritarian regimes. Founded in 1954, the Bilderberg meeting is designed as a forum for informal dialogue between Europe and North America. But it operates under the strict Chatham House rule. Attendees can use the information received, but cannot reveal who said what or even who was there. Critics argue the lack of transparency fuels mistrust and speculation. Supporters claim it allows for honest, unfiltered debate. Whatever the truth, one thing is clear. At Bilderberg, the world's elite speaks freely, while the public tries to listen from the outside. Well, that's all from Stockholm. Field messenger Susan is signing off and wishing everyone a lovely summer.
Newark Liberty International Airport has been facing delays and cancellations lately, with media outlets reporting communication blackouts. UNN field messenger Amy reports on what's really going on behind the airport's recent issues.
Field messenger Amy reporting for UNN from Newark Liberty International Airport in Newark, New Jersey. This airport opened in 1928 and is the oldest airfield in the United States. And lately it's been getting a bad rap because of delays and air traffic controller, mechanical problems, and I was able to get the scoop going through the airport, so I'd like to share that with you today. The news media has been reporting a blackout in communications between the air traffic controllers and the pilots in the air. Delays and canceled flights, with United Airlines taking the most ridicule, and air traffic controllers walking off the job, creating a shortage. Well, here's the real story. We are just over a month into the main runway at Newark Airport being closed for repairs. These repairs should take about 2 months, which we are halfway through. The second phase of these repairs will take place between 11 p.m. at night and 5 a.m. in the morning. This is why United Airlines, the largest carrier in the airport, had to cancel flights, reducing them from 80 an hour down to 75. It has also been reported that 20% of the air traffic controllers walked off the job. The truth is, 4 people on one shift quit. Over a year ago, the air traffic controllers facility was moved to Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The air traffic controllers are not happy about having to commute from Newark, New Jersey, all the way to Philadelphia, and this is why many have quit and there is a shortage. The tower on the ground at Newark basically communicates with the planes on the ground, not in the air. The media reports have led people to think that the air traffic controllers had lost all contact with the planes for 90 seconds. The truth is, yes, the system is old, but there are backup systems in place and the pilots have been trained to deal with this. However, the air traffic controllers did not lose verbal communications with the pilots, just their screen with where the trains are went dark. Yes, 90 seconds is a long time. However, the planes are equipped with radar, so they know how far apart they are from each other, and the pilots were in verbal communication with each other and with the air traffic controllers at all times. So I hope this report helps you feel safer if you're traveling through Newark Liberty International Airport. Thanks for watching. See you next time.
Kenya has long recognized the rights of people with disabilities in its laws, and the 2010 Constitution set an important foundation by guaranteeing access, dignity, and inclusion. But this May, the Kenyan government took things to the next level by passing the groundbreaking Persons with Disabilities Act 2025. This new law aims to turn recognition into real, tangible action. Let's put this into perspective. Kenya ratified the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities in 2008, following its 2003 Persons with Disabilities Act. But little changed. Many people with disabilities still face stigma, poor access to education, inaccessible spaces, and limited job opportunities. Research shows schools often exclude students with disabilities due to a lack of ramps or proper facilities, while public transport remains unusable for wheelchair users. Unemployment for people with disabilities averaged 10.4% between 2019 and 2023, double the national average of 5.2%, according to the Disability Inclusion Status Report 2025. Disability data is also inconsistent. Only 2.2% of Kenyans were reported as having disabilities in the 2019 census, far below the global average of 15%, pointing to stigma and flawed reporting. The new law is shifting focus from recognition to action by broadening the definition of disability and mandating inclusion in schools, jobs, healthcare, and public services. It also bans discrimination and ensures reasonable accommodations.
A few of the highlights of the bill, some of them being things like incentives for people who employ people with disabilities. You get a percentage of tax incentives as an employer if you are able to accommodate or refurbish or retrofit your building or your workplace for people with disabilities. You also get tax exemption. I've added the age of retirement to 65 from 60, because you'll find that people with disabilities, we get late into school because of all the barriers, which means that we are late into employment because of the same barriers. And therefore, if we stop at 60, we haven't really had that many years of actual, meaningful employment. So that was something that came out really strongly in stakeholder engagement. So now it's 65 for PWDs. We have tax incentives and reliefs for carers and parents of persons with disabilities, which is a huge thing. I think parents, moms, dads who have kids with disabilities have really been suffering for years, mine included. And because I saw how much effort and money and finance and resource goes into raising a child with a disability like myself, that was something that was very important. It came out, again, strongly in public participation. We also have issues about voting, making sure that buildings are accessible, voting materials accessible. There's increased privacy as well. If you can imagine me as a VIP, a visually impaired person, going to vote, and you have those people, those people who just hang around. Let me help you in Luke's idea. And I'm like, no. There needs to be actual material that I can use independently. Otherwise, it's not a fair process for me.
Passing a law is just the first step. Putting it into action is where the real work begins. The African Population and Health Research Center points out some big challenges, like weak government commitment and a lack of proper monitoring and accountability at both national and county levels. County governments need to step up by tracking progress and enforcing policies, while the National Council for Persons with Disabilities needs enough funding and authority to carry out accessibility audits and push for necessary changes. Public awareness campaigns are also key, since discrimination still happens despite legal protections. Without clear accountability and active involvement from all stakeholders, the law risks falling flat. However, there are plenty of organizations in Kenya already making a difference. One great example is the Kenyan Network of Women and Girls with Disabilities. They're building a strong, supportive community where women and girls with disabilities can connect, share experiences, and advocate for their rights. Through education, mentorship, and leadership opportunities, they're creating a supportive, empowering community where everyone feels heard.
For me, I want to thank Kenya Network for Women and Girls with Disability, because it is a wonderful organization that has helped more people, because it has helped me to continue to train, and it has empowered me to train others also, because now I see people have really woken up. It is not like before. And I know I'm not alone. It has helped others also, which help to represent other people with disability. And I see that will bring a very big change in our country.
Kenya has made significant strides with this new law, but the journey is far from over. The success of the Persons with Disabilities Act 2025 depends on how well it's implemented, not just words on paper. Real change will require action, accountability, and collaboration from everyone, government, civil society, and citizens alike.
The Canary Islands are experiencing a potato shortage after a poor harvest and challenges with imports from the UK. UNN field messenger Emma has the latest updates.
Hi, this is Emma, field messenger for UNN, reporting from Fuerteventura, Spain, in Europe. This report is going to be about potato shortage in the Canary Islands. Canary potatoes are a staple in the Canarian diet and have had a very natural development since they were introduced here 450 years ago. There has been no selection process like in the rest of Europe. They have been able to grow freely without any manipulation. These potatoes are smaller and have many different colors on the outside, like yellow, bluish, and is very often yellow and very tasteful. Yellow on the inside and very tasteful. Here they boil the potatoes in salty seawater and serve them normally with a local sauce called a mojo. The Canary Islands now have a potato shortage, and some say it's a potato crisis. It started with a really bad harvest, and it was really warm season in the beginning of 2023, when about 80% of the harvest of the local potatoes in the north fell due to the Guatemala moth, and the British imported potato had been affected by the red beetle, all at the same time. The local production and import from the UK used to be overlapping to keep the prices stable and to secure the delivery. But additional to what happened now, the United Kingdom faced a security alert about the red beetle contamination, which left 23 containers of potatoes stranded in the port in August of 2023. As the Canary Islands are a beetle-free zone, the options for potato import are limited to about 9 countries, including Egypt and Israel. So what's happening in the meantime? Well, the prices of available potatoes skyrocketed to €5 per kilo in most supermarkets. There were shortages, and the catering and the restaurant industry had to replace meals with fresh potatoes using frozen products or just take potato off the menu. We know that we won't see local potatoes again until at least November this year, but it will not solve the problem, as the Canary farmers only produce a tiny fraction of what is consumed on the Canary Islands. So the latest information is that the Spanish authorities have authorized import from the UK to the Canary Islands, and so now they have officially granted permission for potatoes from all of UK except from Kent, where the presence of the Colorado beetle was detected. So a collaboration between government of Spain and the local producers have finally found a solution to the potato crisis. The aim is to protect the Canary Island from the entry of the pest and to ensure a successful next harvest on the island. So thank you for watching and see you next time.
Hi everyone, this is Leanne.
And I'm Jerry.
Coming to you from Tamworth, New South Wales.
Hi there, this is Rick from Arizona.
My name is Uchechukwu Ogbenegba from Igbo tribe, Nigeria.
Hi, this is Scott from Utah.
I'm Annette from Agassi, British Columbia.
Hi, I'm Marcus Surzet from Manipur State, India.
Real people reporting real stories from all around the world. That's what United Network News is all about.
Can you clap?
We had a huge flood, which some call the flood of the century.
No fake news here. Our field messengers share personal experiences of what's really happening in their community.
We got some nice fish right here.
At UNN, you are the news.
My family and I had a very good time.
Take the next step. Become a UNN field messenger and share the real news with the world.
In the northwest province of South Africa, I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News.
I am United Network News, and if it's going to be, it's up to me.
It's going to be, it's up to me. If it is going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to me.
If it's going to be, it's up to us. Field Messages, United Network News. See you next time.
Every June, cities around the world fill with parades, rainbow flags, and celebrations of love, identity, and resilience. Pride Month is a time for the LGBTQ+ community and its allies to honor the hard-fought victories for equality and to advocate for the work that still needs to be done. But this year, things look a little different, especially behind the scenes. Organizers are facing financial shortfalls and waning support from corporate sponsors and government allies alike. Pride Month commemorates the Stonewall riots of June 1969, a watershed moment in the LGBTQ+ rights movement. For years, they faced police harassment and violence simply for gathering in public. That all came to a head at a police raid at the Stonewall Inn, a gay bar in New York City's Greenwich Village. The uprising helped ignite the modern LGBTQ+ rights movement. At the time, homosexual acts were illegal in every U.S. state except Illinois.
The bar itself was a toilet, but it was a refuge. It was a temporary refuge from the street.
The Stonewall pulled in everyone from every part of gay life. Everyone from the street kids who were white and black kids from the South, all kinds of designers, boxers, big museum people, medievalists. What was so good about the Stonewall was that you could dance slow there, because we could feel a sense of love for each other that we couldn't show out in the street, because you couldn't show any affection out in the street.
Just a chance to find love, you know? I had never seen anything like that. I never saw so many gay people dancing in my life. And I said to myself, oh my God, this will not last. And the cops just charged them and started smashing their heads with clubs.
And then more police came, and it didn't stop. Windows were starting to break. And all of a sudden, pandemonium broke loose.
What they did in the Stonewall that night, I went in there and they took bats and just busted that place up. The mirrors, all the bottles of liquor, the jukebox, the cigarette machines.
Those mesh garbage cans being lit up on fire and being thrown at the police, tires were slashed on police cars, and it just went on all night long.
Following the Stonewall riots in 1969, LGBTQ plus activists began organizing annual marches to commemorate the event, with the first Pride parades taking place in New York City, Los Angeles, and Chicago in 1970. Over the next few decades, these events grew into widespread celebrations and demonstrations for equality, especially as the LGBTQ plus community faced challenges like the AIDS crisis in the 1980s. Advocacy efforts expanded, public support increased, and Pride became a fixture in many cities. In 1999, June was officially declared Pride Month in the United States. Since that time, the LGBTQ plus community has made major strides, including the nationwide decriminalization of same-sex relationships in 2003, open military service in 2010, and the legalization of same-sex marriage in 2015. In 2020, workplace protections were expanded to cover sexual orientation and gender identity, reflecting broader progress in visibility, rights, and inclusion. This year, Pride organizers across the U.S. are facing major budget shortfalls, with cities like San Francisco, New York, Salt Lake City, and Washington, D.C. reporting funding gaps in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. A key reason is many companies, such as Meta, Target, MasterCard, Boeing, Visa, and Pepsi, have scaled back or pulled out of sponsoring Pride events. According to industry surveys, corporate engagement has dropped by about 60% since last year, with nearly 40% of companies planning further cutbacks, partly due to shifting political dynamics and concerns about legal risks tied to diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI, programs.
For 45 years, St. Louis has celebrated Pride with a free festival. This year, that's changing. Pride Fest goers will have to pay a $10 entry fee because the organization has lost more than $150,000 in corporate sponsorships, including St. Louis headquartered Anheuser-Busch, which pulled its support after a 30-year partnership.
It was simply a quote on a phone call that was, we no longer see the value in the relationship, end quote. And that was all we got.
We've reached out to Anheuser-Busch for comment, but haven't heard back. It's not the only brand scaling back. According to a survey of more than 200 corporate executives by Gravity Research, 39% plan to do the same this year. New York City Pride is feeling the impact as well.
We are about 25% down from our fundraising goal, which equals about $750,000.
The subdued corporate support marks a shift in recent years. Businesses are scrapping some of their programs to advance diversity in the workplace under pressure from the Trump administration. With this shift, some Pride events are reincorporating Pride's original purpose: protest.
To us, protest can mean so many things. Protest is protest. Being queer joy is protest. Being visible is protest.
We will not go backwards. We will not tolerate these actions from this administration and from this state.
Without much corporate backing, some Pride organizers have turned to alternative sources of support. For example, in Minnesota's Twin Cities, organizers raised more than twice their usual donation through grassroots crowdfunding after cutting ties with a former sponsor. It's a reminder that while corporate support can help keep events running smoothly, local communities often play a huge role in keeping Pride going. This year, nearly 100 cities in the U.S. will host Pride events, and more than 50 other celebrations are happening internationally. Even with the recent changes in support and funding, people are still showing up.
UNN Field Messenger Kuzaki invites us to explore one of Japan's most breathtaking natural wonders. This amazing destination offers a mix of stunning beaches, towering mountains, and a unique way to take in the sights.
Hello, this is Field Messenger Kazaki, reporting for United Network News from Kyoto District, Japan. これは日本三景を紹介する3つのリレーリポートの最終回です。一見すると何の変哲もない美しい砂浜に見えますが、実はここは長さが 2km 以上もある細長い砂州なのです。去年私は友人たちとこの天橋立、天にかけられたはしごという意味ですが、こちらを訪れました。ケーブルカーに乗って北側にある笠松山に登るとその形がよくわかります。地震や土石流、土砂の堆積や浸食によって形成されたとされる珍しい地形で、日本の国づくり神話にも登場します。その姿はどことなく大きな竜が寝そべって内海と外海を隔てているようにも見えます。山頂では有名なまたぐら覗きを試してみました。こうすると天橋立が空にかかっているように見えて面白いのですが、この鑑賞法なんと2016年栄えあるイグ・ノーベル賞を受賞したそうで、世界的にも注目を集めているということだそうです。日本人って変なことするでしょ。それにしてもこの天橋立、自然と形成されたというにはあまりにも不自然というのが私の第一印象でした。宇宙人がその技術で何らかの目的のために作り出した地形ではないのかとつい疑ってしまいましたが、皆さんはどうお感じになりますか？ This is Field Messenger Kazaki reporting for United Network News from Kyoto District, Japan. Thank you for watching.
Around the world, abandoned houses are being turned into opportunities for anyone looking for a fresh start or an investment in a unique place. Many of these homes were left behind due to population decline as younger generations move to bigger cities. From Europe to Asia, countries are getting creative with ways to revive forgotten towns and boost their local economies. And the deals on these homes are hard to ignore. Take Europe, for example. Some countries are selling homes for as little as €1 to repopulate remote areas. According to Go Bank and Greats, a personal finance publication, you can find €1 homes in small villages in France. However, buyers must live in the house, start renovations within 6 months, and finish them within 2 years. A village in Croatia is selling homes for less than $1 with conditions like being financially stable, at least 40 years old, and agreeing to own the property for 15 years, while the town covers part of the renovation costs. Ireland is offering grants up to €84,000 to those willing to restore abandoned homes on its remote islands as part of a 10-year plan to bring back life to these areas. Italy is also making headlines with its famous €1 home campaigns, where people can buy old houses for nearly nothing.
Here's the truth behind that €1 price tag. First, yes, the homes are legally sold for €1. That part is real. But you're not just buying a house. You're taking on a full-blown restoration project. Most of these properties have been abandoned for decades. No plumbing, no electricity, collapsed roofs, cracked walls. And once you buy it, you're required to renovate within a strict timeline. In many towns, you must present a renovation plan, start construction within 3 to 6 months, and complete it within 2 to 3 years. And if you don't, you lose the property and the deposit. Yes, there's always a deposit, usually around €2,000 to €5,000, depending on the town. It's held as a guarantee that you'll actually follow through. Now, how much do renovations cost? That depends on the house and location, but you should expect to spend at least €30,000 to €70,000, possibly more. So no, it's not just €1. It's €1 plus a full restoration budget and legal fees. Still, for some buyers, it's worth it. You get to own a piece of Italy, live in a historic town, maybe even turn the property into a rental or vacation home. And some towns now offer tax incentives, fast-track residency for non-EU buyers, and even grants to support renovation costs. But it's not for everyone. You need patience, reliable local help, and a clear plan.
Across the globe, in Japan, abandoned houses called IKEA are also looking for new owners. These homes are often empty due to population decline, urbanization, or inheritance issues, especially in rural areas with aging populations. They can be incredibly cheap, sometimes even free, but they often require expensive renovations, which lowers their appeal. Buying one can also come with complications like unpaid taxes or legal disputes. Most are located in rural areas, which might not suit everyone looking for city life. To tackle this, the Japanese government is encouraging people to invest in IKEA to revive communities and address housing shortages.
Here's the truth about abandoned homes and cheap homes in Japan that you should be aware of as a foreigner. These homes are usually cheap for a reason. They're often located in remote areas where the population is dwindling or there are no nearby train stations. Additionally, the buildings are often old and in poor condition. Rather than rehabilitating the property, it might be more efficient to tear it down and rebuild. You need to be aware of the cost to rebuild or renovate, as construction costs are currently very high. Banks in Japan are unlikely to provide loans for these properties, so you would need to buy the house in cash and cover the rehabilitation costs yourself. This situation can diminish the resale value of your property, as the next buyer would also need to purchase it with cash. Managing these properties in remote locations can be even more challenging if you don't speak Japanese. If you plan to manage the property remotely, think twice. Cheap properties are cheap for a reason.
If you're considering one of these unique opportunities, it's important to do your homework. Every program has its own requirements, like living in the home or contributing to the local community. Life in these areas often comes with challenges like isolation or limited amenities, so it's important to weigh the pros and cons. Be sure to research visas, healthcare, local laws, language barriers, and taxes to be fully prepared.
Are you ready to change the world? Take the next step and join our weekly Field Messenger meetings. Learn more at unitednetwork.earth. I am United Network News, and so are you.